Well, welcome to week 15. Last week in week 14, we turned in our reframe and synthesis paper, which was a big paper to be able to look at all 4 frames with our HRD issue and merge our ideas such that we have a recommendation for how our organization can proceed and really address in a 360-degree look and move ahead. And so thank you for doing that. That was hard work. Now we are moving into looking at possibly reframing ethics and spirit in the sense that we are even looking at change agents. And that's our next paper, is the change agent paper. And that's going to be due on May 3rd. So as we look forward to this particular week, our integration frame quiz is due this week at the end of the week on the 26th. Before we get there, we're going to be again looking at ethics and spirit. And we've got an activity for doing that. It's a reframing ethics matrix activity. So I want you to look in chapter 19 at exhibit 19.1. And we're going to add a new column that we're naming Revive Ethics in My Organization. And I know many of you really revere your organization and the ethics and heart that you see in your organizations. And so it may be a struggle to find something that you might want to do to include a higher ethical standard. And if that's the case, that's great. So just take a look at it and see how you might answer the questions as you fill in the 4 cells, structural, HR, political, and symbolic, with a phrase that says what you recommend with regard to ethics and spirit in your organization. And with the structural part, so how we might be kinder, how we might be more ethical in the way we proceed, have a stronger sense of the spiritual self or the symbolic frame in our organizations. So take a look at that. And then, as I said, we have the synthesis quiz, reframe quiz, 4 questions, 1 question per each of our 4 frames. Again, that's structural, HR, political, and symbolic. And typically, as we have all the way through the course, you have 2 options to do it, 60 minutes for each of the options during the week. And then we're going to, and so that again is due on April 26th. And the following week, we have our change paper that's due. And so let's take a look at that, at both the change agent reflection paper and the fair that we have coming up. So the reflection paper is due week 16, and our last week, the change agent reflection fair is due. It is going to be our focus for week 17. So for our change agent paper, so you are a change agent. You now have a firm grasp of 4 different frames for looking at your organization and an issue within your organization that you would like to address. You've just submitted a paper that talks about one issue, and you've looked at it from all 4 frames, the lenses, looked at applied the principles and the strategies in each of those frames. So now we're going to just take a look at how you can be a change agent, a person working in your organization to have kind of antenna looking for opportunities to help your organization perfect itself to be better. And through the 4 frames. And so how might you do that? What might be ways that you work to utilize Bowman and Deal's principles, assumptions, strategies in your organization? What will you do? What role will you take as a change agent? How might you even encourage others in your organization to also be change agents, and how might you teach them to do that? So again, this is a 2 to 3 page paper, and that's 2 to 3 pages of content. You can have a cover page, and you should have a reference page, and that's not included in the 2 to 3 pages. And so just follow the instructions and take a look at the rubric as well and write your paper. And then the paper you can attach in week 17 in our discussion forum if you wish, or you can just answer the questions. And the questions you're going to answer are what your role is. It's really part and parcel of what you're going to discuss in your change agent paper. And so we're now just going to bring that discussion into the forum. And you're going to talk about in your organization how you will proceed into the future as a change agent, what strategies you will use, and not necessarily with the particular issue that you've already been addressing, because you've addressed it, and you can go ahead and, if you wish, and I hope you do, submit your paper or have a conversation with someone who is a decision maker who can possibly implement the good ideas that you're recommending. But that's not necessarily what we're going to talk about as the change agent reflection fair. You can certainly do that and say, that's exactly what I intend to do. On Monday morning, I intend to go into the bank president's office and discuss strategies for addressing this issue of communications. Or I'm going to talk with my organization about how we can hire a person to do X or Y. And so that could be your strategy. Also talk about the going forward with other possible issues. I'm sure that wasn't the sole issue your organization has ever had or will ever have. And possibly even not the sole issue it has right now. And so, what are your strategies for being that person who says, I can assist with that? Here are ways that we can proceed. If we're looking at this appears to be in a human resources issue primarily. And certainly there are other issues because we have scarce resources. We might be in the political frame as well. But let's talk about this. And so you could say, here's how I'm going to proceed. My strategy number 1 is that I'm going to take a lead position with fixing things that I see as potential problems. Or you might say, I'm going to be a person who can build a white paper and put together a group to talk about issues as they come up. I'm going to put together a quality circle in my organization, and we're going to have conversations about how to move forward when issues come up. So talk about what you're going to do. What resources do you have to do those things? How will doing this, how will taking this role as a change agent benefit you in the position you have in your organization? And how will it benefit the organization to have you as a change agent? Possibly you as teaching others to be change agents, to be problem finders, to look for ways in which you can proactively address issues that you see in your organization. And so those are the last 3 weeks. And I'll talk about weeks 16 and 17 in the last week, this week, for next week. But now you have it. This is what we're going to be doing in week 15, in week 16, and in week 17. In week 15, we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about ethics and spirit, the synthesis reframe quiz, and then as we move to week 16, we're going to have the personal change agent paper, and in week 17 we'll have the change fair. So there you have it, and for week 15 I will see you in the forum talking about ethics and spirit.